Odin von Horvath was a very successful young dramatist in the 20s and 30s in Germany. He was Hungarian, but he wrote in German. And I started translating his plays in the 70s. I translated a play of his called Tales from the Vienna Woods for the National Theatre in their first season at the South Bank in 1976, which was then made into a film in Austria. And subsequent to that, I've translated, I think, 4 of his other plays. Unusually, he, among writers in Nazi Germany, he made the decision to stay. Everyone else that we've heard of went to America or went to Scandinavia or got out somehow or other. But Horvath decided to stay, partly because he was so fascinated by the Nazis. He just simply couldn't. He'd already been in court for fighting with Nazis in a bar, so he didn't approve of them. But he did what was necessary, which was that he joined the party in order to be able to keep working, which you had to do, because he was actually under contract to, I think, 20th Century Fox in Vienna. Anyway, the fact was that he couldn't. A play of his called Faith, Hope and Charity, which is one of the ones I've translated, was closed by the Nazis in rehearsal. So when they came in, like a week after they came in, so he was on their list of disapproved authors. He went on writing plays, but of course no one would do them. No one could do them. So somewhere in the mid-30s, he decided he would write he would not, instead of writing a play, which he'd done all his life, he would write a novel. So he wrote this novel called Youth Without God, Jugend ohne Gott, and it had it published in Holland, which is what the sort of emigre writers were doing. There was a publishing house in Amsterdam that specialised in these things. The book was an enormous success. Thomas Mann wrote to Horvath and said, "I don't understand, how did you find out all these things about what it was like to live in Germany? This is, of all the novels I've read, this is the one that tells me the most about living in Nazi Germany." I don't know, we don't know what Horvath answered, if he answered at all. It would have been a little awkward for him to say, well, actually I know about it because I'm allowed to stay because I joined the party. The main sort of arc of the story is to do with a man who thinks he can rub along. It's a subject that I've, in various ways and in various adaptations, come across a lot before. Graham Greene, The Quiet American, that's about a man who wants not to be involved and finally he has to be involved. And Casablanca, it's a classic sort of story, really. And this is about a man who really just wants to keep his nose clean and keep out of the way, and he knows everything that's going on is ridiculous, but at a certain point he can't really allow it any longer. He has to step in and he has to take a stance, and even if it's personally destructive. It's about maintaining your integrity in an insane society, in a society that is where, like Nazi Germany or really other societies we could probably think of right now, where the leader is he's referred to in the play as the great arsehole, where the leader is completely out of control and a liar and a completely duplicitous but popular figure. So it's a sort of cry against populism, and it's a consideration of what an ordinary person can do in a crazy society. I think, as Brecht once said, the pitch is on heat again, and it's sort of quite scary what's happening in Europe. Not only here, of course, where we're governed by rudderless idiots, but in Europe, in Central Europe, and particularly at the moment, there are a lot of alarming developments of late. So these subjects suddenly seem to be very much relevant. A feeling of the kind of impotent bystander watching a country which is driving itself as fast as possible towards a brick wall, and the question, what can I do? Well, first of all, I think it's a very entertaining and intriguing story. I mean, I think you want to know what's going to happen next. It takes very unexpected turns along the way that no one really could have predicted. But behind all that, I hope that audiences see a kind of contemporary resonance which relates to the times we're going through at the moment.